Now halfway through a Winter Olympics in Italy that has been politically charged from the giddy up, beginning with really J.D. Vance getting booed during the opening ceremonies. Boo, they say. Boo. And then the Italians have been protesting the presence of U.S. ICE agents. And athletes talked about their struggle with the climate back here at home. Take a look.
As a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S.
I'm really proud to represent the United States. The U.S. has given my family and I so much opportunity, but I also think that we are allowed to voice our opinions on what's going on, and I think that we need to lead with love and compassion.
And so they have taken a lot of heat for these comments, but it brings up a good question. What does the U.S. represent around the world right now? Who are we, and what face are we asking athletes to be comfortable with?
But look, one of the things that distinguishes America is our right to free speech. Right. And that includes athletes, that includes actors, that includes every single American. There's places in the world where if athletes did what these athletes did in Italy, they would be jailed or tortured or killed, but not in the United States. And I think that they are articulating what a lot of Americans are feeling. You know, I'm not an Olympic athlete. I play pickleball badly. But I think particularly when you are outside of the United States, and we all represent the United States.
Yes.
If you have a U.S. passport and you are an American citizen, you're representing the United States. And every time you set foot anywhere outside of the United States right now, and you know this because you spend so much time in Italy, they think we've gone insane.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, my question is, if you're not having mixed feelings about loving your country and being proud of your country, but disdaining what this government is doing, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that those are mutually exclusive at all. Like when I look at these athletes, asking them how they feel, I'm so proud of the athletes that wear the flag. I'm proud American. This country is 250 years old. It's seen some pretty nasty days, and it doesn't change the opportunity it offered to so many people. It is an imperfect work in progress. So nothing about wearing USA on your back says I endorse everything that my government's doing back home, because we are bigger than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is here for 1 minute in my mind. This country predates him, and it will date after him. And so I'm not giving away all the many things I am proud of that this country does and what it represents to me. So I hope they stand proud. I would never look at someone with that flag, even when they blank out the Russian flag. My heart goes out a little bit to those Russian athletes because that's deeply a part of who they are. And I don't blame Putin on them. So I think people should be able to wear their flag and be loud and proud, because I don't put any of the taint on any of our athletes or assume they endorse anything Donald Trump is doing.
Well, I think that athletes expressing their views are as American as it comes, you know, and it's been happening for a long time. The Olympics have always been political. I mean, if you think about the two black athletes, the track runners, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, they raised their fists during that medal ceremony to protest racial discrimination in the United States that was going on, well, still going on, but it was certainly at the forefront then. And so I applaud those athletes for using their platform to say, you know, I don't agree with everything that's going on. Because like Anna mentioned, I mean, you spend any time abroad, people do come up to you as an American. At least that's been my experience. It's anecdotal, but I've traveled around out of the country for the past year and a half, and I've been asked questions like, did you vote for Donald Trump? What do you think about what's going on here? The Olympics is just putting sort of a mirror to what's going on in America right now. And so the athletes, I think, did the right thing by explaining how they feel.
The problem for me is people at home who are calling them losers and all these kind of
The
names.
president called him a loser.
There's but
I'd like to see
holes
him ski
everywhere.
down a hill.
But here's the issue. You know, they are entitled to feel how they feel.
Correct.
That is their right. And they are saying, I don't agree with everything. It's like when I was a kid, people said, my country right or wrong. No.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And people are going to say you're wrong. So, you know, all these people who are criticizing these folks saying, stop talking.
Right.
Because in this country, we are still allowed. We are still allowed. It has not been outlawed.
Nope.
They can threaten it, but they haven't stopped it. We are allowed to say what we think and what we feel. And when we are across the pond, they did it the right way. They said, I'm not with everything that's happening. They didn't say the country should go to hell. That's not what they said at all. Right. So stop calling people losers and maybe get out and do a little exercise and maybe you can compete with them.